No.
Jesse, can you?
I heard some audio and then it went out. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I can now.
Jesse, can you?
I heard some audio and then it went out. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you share your screen, Jesse?
I actually don't have it on this screen. I was hoping that it could be pulled up on your end. Is that possible?
Okay. I think that Jen was controlling the meeting for some reason. Okay.
Photos there. Go straight to the photo.
Photo Sims.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for accommodating me online with the Zoom. I missed the first applicant. Is that complete? Are we on to Tesla?
Yes.
Something wrong.
Yeah.
So Jesse, can you see the meeting from home? Can you see the board members on the screen?
No, I can't, but I can see the shared screen, the photo sim.
Okay.
So just describe the shared screens.
Okay. Thank you for your time this evening. What we're looking at is a photo mock-up of a proposed Tesla installation of superchargers. The deployment of 12 posts along the sort of periphery
You
of
can't
the
hear.
parking lot.
The volume here is going to be a problem. So maybe you raise the volume up to the maximum over there. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so we can hear from the
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Jesse, go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry. Can you
Can you
repeat
hear me?
yourself? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is a photo mock-up of a supercharger installation. What we're looking are the charge posts along the southern garage. The charge posts are behind a curb. You'll also notice a fence line behind the charge posts, which is something that the Rivertown Square, ownership has to do with their neighbor. The fence is, I believe, under review under a separate AHRB application, but the intent is to have that fence line installed and then the charge posts to come just inside of it to be accessed by the ground floor parking area. If we switch to the third slide, you'll notice there's some accessory electrical equipment to support the 12 charge posts, namely a new pad mount utility transformer from Con Edison, some electrical switchgear, and some charging cabinets, all kind of tucked in along the peninsula corner here with some landscape screening to the south. In a nutshell, that's the installation. Electrical equipment and 12 charge posts, all on the ground floor. There is some separation of the charge posts, more noticeable on the actual construction drawings that were provided, but there's a spacing to allow some egress in and out to the rear of the property for the property owner into their maintenance area. Any questions?
Actually, it's a very straightforward application, and we are ready to make comments.
Can you hear that, Jesse?
Can you hear us, Jesse?
It's very faint, but I think
Can
no
you hear me
comment.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what we have to do is
So what I know what the
you have to
problem is.
unmute- you have to
Yeah.
mute yourself when I speak, so he can hear us. Okay, Jesse, thank you for the presentation. It's very clear. I don't think I personally have a problem with the. Can you hear us? Can you hear?
Yes, I can. Mhm.
So
Yes.
because there is some echo in the background, so I'm going to try to speak slowly. Regarding the fence, I have a question. How high is the fence? And has to be compliant with our standards, village standards. The second question I have for you, the second comment I have no issue with the charging stations per se. They look great, and the location is well selected. My biggest concern is the appearance of the utility transformers that are at the street. And my question is, why don't you put it on the back? I drove this morning by the area, and I don't see the need of having this, what do you call it, all the utility transformers, the supercharged cabinet, charger cabinet. Why don't you put it in the back where it's not seen from the street or next to the residential house that is there? That's a question. And if there is a need to have them there, I think I would recommend it to send it to planning board for their consideration, because it's a big presence on the street. And I don't know if that's what we want to see. Those are my comments. I welcome other members.
Yeah, I would agree.
Can I address those comments? Okay.
And
Sure.
and I'm just a little confused as to exactly where these transformers are placed relative to the entire site plan. Are these facing the sawmill?
Facing the street, facing the house.
Yeah.
It's on the street, next to the house.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty obvious and pretty imposing there. So I agree with you.
Yeah, thank you for the comments. Let me just address the first one. The fence line is proposed to be 6 feet tall. I just need to check with Rivertech Square on the exact spec, and they're going to be coming in front of you, I believe, on the next meeting to get that fence line approved. So that should, will be compliant with your code. The item, in terms of the equipment, in fact, we had originally laid out the installation with the equipment within the buffer area, well tucked in behind the southern edge of the garage, only to later discover that there's actually a 10-foot wide no build access easement along the southern edge that was agreed to, I think, in the development of this property, and may have even had some planning board. I don't know. They had participated in that decision to provide this sort of buffer between the garage and the neighbor. So that's a no build zone for us. The utility feed is coming in right off the street, and this was the most immediately available location for equipment. We can't put the Con Ed transformer underneath the parking deck, and then the electrical equipment feeds right from it. So this was our attempt to be compact and efficient with the layout. If there's an issue with the placement here, we'd have to really go back and start looking at other options on the property that could accommodate this equipment.
My recommendation will, yes, let's
My
investigate.
question is, yeah,
Let's investigate other.
if there was a way to adequately screen the equipment, would that give you comfort in not having to go through planning board on this?
Adequate.
Because we could look at ways to provide some evergreen screening or some maybe additional fencing around this area.
Yeah, landscaping's not gonna do it. It has to be a hard barrier
Yeah.
that
So
is in keeping with the rest of the architecture in that space, so.
it may be an opportunity to hide the parking, but how tall is the supercharger cabinet?
It's around 7 feet, a little over 7
7
feet tall.
inches.
It's pretty tall. I will encourage you to look other solutions for this. Other potential places not to be on the street and especially not to a residential house, next to a residential house.
Can I ask a question as well? Do you have Con Ed approval for this?
Yeah, Con Ed is fully on board with this. In fact, we've actually worked with them to, not sure how familiar you are with the history here, but there's a pad here to accommodate single phase electric back to the neighbor at the point at which he allows Con Ed to enter the property. But this is approved with Con Ed. It's kind of set up for when the pole line comes out and single phase is able to be brought to the neighbor. So they have approved this layout. If anything, I do need to keep the equipment in green somehow in this bulb of an area, because this is the primary switching and the pad mount transformer. It's the white equipment, namely our switchgear and our cabinets, that I have some flexibility in finding a new home for, but I do need to keep the utility portions of this out there in the front. So I guess my intention here is to try and screen the green utility equipment and then find a new home for the white.
Do you have
I'm sorry?
a limitation between the transformers, the Con Ed transformer?
Nope, it's really a matter of cost. There's not a distance
A
limitation.
matter of cost, you said?
Correct. So one thing we can look at is potentially pulling in the white equipment to the rear of the property there's some maintenance area. But what I try to do is keep the utility infrastructure out front. Where it is now, frankly, there's a small single phase transformer out there. But to provide some evergreen screening around that.
Jesse, what is the size of the equipment that has to be on the street?
Yeah, if you go to the third slide, you would, thanks.
The green?
So
one
yeah, the green equipment. So
is to the right, that one. How big is that?
it actually looks a little larger than it should, but that's the pad mount transformer to the right. It sits on a 8-foot by 8-foot pads around 6 feet tall. And to the left is this tap junction box, 2.5 feet tall,
I remember seeing
long
it.
rectangle.
Could the white charging?
But once those white boxes are moved kind of out of the way, I think there's room to tuck the transformer in this junction box back.
Could the white boxes be?
Sorry, could the white boxes be what? I may have missed that comment. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm not able to hear.
No, because it's multiple echo. I don't know.
Did you unmute?
Okay.
Now it works.
All right, now I can hear you.
Okay, so
Can the white boxes be what?
So the white boxes, we all agree that the white boxes cabinets we all agree that we're gonna move them out of the way,
Yes.
okay? Now let's talk about the green transformers and the junction box. Those, since they are not as big as the white cabinets, we might be able to live with some sort of adequate screening. What it means is probably a combination of fences or landscaping or both. And we have to see how it looks. Okay, so but the main idea here is to move this bulk equipment out of the front of the building. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay. I think we can work on a solution there. I mean, our first pass would probably be to try and extend that tree line, the arborvitae tree line, bring it out to the front and tuck the equipment in behind it. Is the preference of the board to see a vegetative screening, or would you rather see hard fencing?
I think it has to be a combination. I really have.
Are you on mute?
Now I unmuted myself, yes. But
Okay.
you know, we have to see, we have to study it, and you know, you guys propose to us. The main idea is not to be seen, let's say, and to be
Sure.
adequate is, it means adequate screening is whatever we're seeing is it's pleasant, right? Okay.
I might just to try and come back here just once. So if you had your preference would be for a fence and vegetation in front of it.
I always, and it's me speaking, I always prefer landscaping. That's my preference. But I doubted that by landscaping only you're going to be achieving this. But hey, I would say a combination. Definitely combination.
And just to refresh my understanding, it is a 6 foot tall maximum on the fencing. Is that right?
Yeah, side, no, not the front fences. Front fences are 3 feet, right?
We would make it
4 feet, sorry. 4 feet.
4 feet.
For side fences, 6 feet.
Because I think the issue here with a 4 foot fence is really not going to do much here in the front. So maybe we look at
Past the front plane of the building.
Right.
Which this is past the front plane. But as a shielding. that
Yeah.
can be-
Yeah, well, we have some leeway to see, you know, to analyze, to review a proposal that it's pleasant, yes.
What's hard is that the fence, the proposed fence that goes along the property line isn't part of this specific application, which makes it a little harder to review. Because you should really understand how that interacts with that same fencing along the property line.
Yeah,
I think screening is definitely required.
It might be useful to have that all as one application.
It would just be, I think, for simplicity.
Yeah.
For our review, I think it would go faster.
Is it possible also to move the equipment back closer to the paved section of the underside of the lot? Just push it back further from the roadway?
there's not much room there. On the other side of these cabinets is a parking spot. So,
I'm saying, but if you
Not really
take
much.
the 3 white ones out, you pick up about 2 feet.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. We'll pull the white equipment out. We'll push the green back a bit and then bring in some landscaping in the front. I wasn't clear if you wanted a 4 foot or 6 foot fence line in there as well, if that would trigger sort of some additional issues.
I think we would consider any screening that makes it adequate. So
Okay.
whatever height that means, we would consider as being adequate.
Okay.
What about second?
And in terms of a planning board review, is if we take care of the screening of this equipment, can this stay with ARB, or does this need to go through planning?
the white equipment.
Okay, so here is your answer. If we are pushing the white equipment out of the way, we can stay within the AHRB.
Well, that would be our preference. So why don't we come back to you with a revised layout in PhotoSim? It's my understanding that we come back to another round of this meeting, or would this happen via email?
No, I guess it has to be a formal presentation. Do we have any neighbors?
Okay.
Any neighbors?
Anybody raising their hand?
No, the other, it's the last application was attended.
Okay. No, I guess it has to be a formal application, but you're welcome to send us some ideas for review in email. We can comment if it's in the right direction.
That would be really great. I think help us
No,
get this done with one time. Who should
just to be clear, we are welcome Tesla into the presentations. Right? It's a good looking equipment. I wish the aesthetics of the charging stations are reflected in the front.
I know it's always a challenge. The equipment is ugly and the charge posts are more beautiful. Look, we'll try and make this better on the second pass. To whom could I
just
share some draft?
Send it to the building, to Johnstone, to the village inspector, and they will forward to us.
Okay, we can do that.
And can I ask one more question before you go?
Sure.
Was the location of the utility transformers proposed inside the building at all from an approval perspective, inside the garage? I know that they don't like to, but it doesn't mean they can't, given rated enclosures and other things of that nature. Was that proposed at all to them?
We didn't go down that path because there's a whole nother level of sort of fire suppression and fire rating of the building materials that needs to occur, in addition to the inevitable loss of a parking spot. There's not really any area in the lower deck there that's free space. Ownership is really not interested in losing parking, and so those two items made us keep it out here. And there is quite a large area in this landscape bulb where utility facilities already exist. We were just trying to pack everything in there, but I can see your perspective on it being too much. I think our preference would be to try and keep at least the utility scope out here, instead of doing a retrofit on a quarter of this garage.
So it would be good to understand contextually how this relates to the overall other portion of what's visible from the sawmill. So I understand that we may be able to find a screening solution that would adequately screen the utility transformers, but you may want to explore, if we're not able to get to that, something that would have it internal to the actual garage. I know losing a parking space is not ideal, but I think there's a story to tell with the fact that living inside the building may be better aesthetically to the community. Just something to consider.
Let's try and
you're looking at other options.
yeah, we'll try and land it out here. I think that would be
It's a 2-hour rated room with sprinkler.
the last option.
In the garage. So
what's that now?
it's a 2-hour rated CMU room with fire.
Oh yeah, I know
that's already existing. So it's not that heavy of a lift.
All right, well let's explore if we can make it happen out here, and if not, we'll take another look in the garage.
I'm just gonna say it's not that we are in front of a good-looking facade or a piece of architecture. So whatever we are hiding is equipment, but we can take the opportunity to hide the columns of the garage as well. So it's an opportunity. So there will be room to compromise. All I'm saying is, if the screening is adequate and good looking, it's gonna be much better than what it is now.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Already, so I make a move to continue this application. Seconds, Dale.
Do we just one other note on that? Do we need to refile and send notice to abutters for
No, I don't believe.
meeting again?
No. It's a continuation. It's a continuation of the review.
Okay, great, thanks.
So all in favor? All in favor. So, all right, looking forward for the next round. Thank you.
Okay, hold on, I'm just gonna take a.
Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Hi. I came in a little bit late on this because I could not find it on the agenda, on the normal agenda where it says agendas and meetings. It had nothing that said there was an ARB, so I had to, go on a hunt for this. It's in a different location where this is listed as a meeting tonight. But in any case, I'm here because I finally found it. And I did want to ask some questions on it. Why are these boxes being installed fronting Stanley? And are they on the village right away?
A continuation.
That was our concern as well. We had the same concern as you.
Okay,
And so we asked the applicant to try to resolve that issue in some more aesthetic way. And we did not approve the project as submitted, and so we continued the project, the application to another meeting.
oh, and has the village considered placing them in the unused southwesterly corner of the parking garage where they won't be seen by drivers or the public or us?
Fortunately, it's not the village decision. So I don't think it's the village's decision.
No, she was talking about southwest, so that you're talking about within the garage underneath. the
Yes.
garage? Yes, we did talk about that with the applicant. And that is one of the options that we're interested in, but they're gonna come back with, a revised proposal, and we'll see what they have to say.
And how far is it from our easement? Because I can't tell the depictions by the drawings.
So we're trying to figure out some technical issues here.
Did you not hear my question then? Do you want me to repeat it?
Question,
Oh, okay.
Wait, it's just, is your computer muted? Yeah.
No, I already left the
Okay.
Zoom, so it's not
All right,
us.
try again. It must have been in her, might have been in her.
Easement dimension.
that's what I'm on that.
Go ahead and respond to her.
Yeah.
She
So-
should hear you without
So the question is, there will be
There's an easement, so the zoning board approved, what was it, a 10-foot easement from the edge of the property line? Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah, so the applicant is aware of that easement.
okay,
And the application as submitted was maintains that easement, but still, because of how, large and unattractive those boxes
sure.
transformers are, we were not pleased with the proposal as it was. And so we asked the applicant to try to come up with some type of better screening, including potential vegetation, in addition, maybe to a fence. And then we also discussed, other placements, although they were resistant to the idea of placing the transformers within the garage.
Yeah, but as far as the question to the easement, I don't have any information on the easement. It's something that you have to take on with the village and see.
And review the plan
And Ed, yeah,
to make
review it.
sure that they were.
They're compliant with that. We are compliant.
So as it is, it's compliant with the easement, and of course, we'll be certain to make sure that it remains compliant.
Right.
So, but that's an excellent question and a great point.
I don't see from the application that they submitted, I see the easement clear. There is no interference on the easement area.
And another follow-up to that is, how will if that installation goes through as their proposal states, how will that affect Con Ed running underground electric to the house?
Well, those are questions not of our purview. So you can address those
He
questions.
did mention that it was cleared, he has been in communication with Con Ed, and that everything in terms of your power and your electrical would not be affected. He assured us of that. Con Ed, I guess, is involved in this process as well.
Right, because we want to make sure that when Con Ed comes in to do that underground work, that
Correct.
the boxes aren't an issue.
Correct,
Yeah.
but this is, Liz, this is not our purview. I don't think that.
Well, if you approve it, you have to also.
We
be
approve the
aware of
aesthetics of it.
Approving,
On
you know
Ed's,
what I mean?
and we haven't approved it yet, so.
And do the boxes emit noise?
Yes. They hum, the transformers.
So we would listen to humming all night long there,
I
sleeping?
think that's also a question for village inspector.
So it'll come back before the board.
Dan has to
Does
come
she
back
know that?
before the board.
Yeah.
For the aesthetic portion of it.
For the aesthetics, yeah, well,
As far as Con
we'll,
Ed goes, that's Tesla and you and Con Ed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to do.
But it's, we hear your concerns and
And I find it kind of odd that there's two existing Tesla stations there. Or there's other charging stations, if they're not Tesla, that I don't ever see them being used. So
okay,
why are they putting so many more in?
so hopefully in the future, everybody will use it.
Yeah,
Well, I would think
they're
they
planning for
would-
the future.
I would think they would put them on the top where most of the traffic is with the restaurants and all, and not
Yeah.
just over there where, who goes there?
How about we go to the next application and then we can discuss if charging stations are useful or not on the next meeting.
Yeah, and I suggest that these are all legitimate.
Well, I think they're
concerns, great
useful as a
questions.
general situation, but I don't know about 12 of them being over there useful. That's the issue for there.
These are good questions, and I think you should participate in the meeting when they come back. So keep a close eye.
Certainly
Sorry
will.
that you had some issues getting to
Yes,
this meeting tonight.
it's not listed where it normally is, this ARB meeting.
It is listed.
It's on the calendar.
It's on the
Yeah.
calendar
On the
and
front page of
on
the
the front.
website.
on
It's
the
not
front-
in the same agenda as like last 2 weeks ago, it said the 13th was canceled. There's nothing above that on where you click on agendas and meeting, which I've been doing for 10 years throughout this whole process of this project. So I
Okay.
certainly know how to get online.
All right, so it says clearly AHRB agenda, September 27, 47 Hamilton Street. I don't know what you're
Yes,
referring.
it says that under projects, right? And then you can't even get on it there. And then I just kept
Okay.
searching and searching, but it's certainly.
The way that I find it is I
Within-
do a Google search for Dobbs Ferry AHRB agenda with the date, and it always takes me directly to the website. And that's how I always find it, because
I
I've
always
had some
went up-
issues myself, but that's
Right.
how I've rectified that, and I have no
Right,
issues.
'cause
of
Because
starting
I
it.
looked at the board and it's listed as it typically is, and, but not
Okay.
the ARB.
How about we discuss it after Fairlawn, because we have other applicants. 7 Fairlawn Avenue.
Okay.
Boston.
25% of your parking has to have EV charging capability.
Say it again.
25% of your charging in Boston has in the in Boston,
Okay.
city of Boston, has to have EV charging capabilities. 25%. Pretty amazing, right?
All right. So this is 7 Fairlawn. Christina, you will be presenting.
Yes, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
I'm Christina Griffin, the architect. I'm here with Suzanne Levine. She's the project architect. And we're here to present a new outdoor space, which is essentially a porch and a new retaining wall and sloped garden area at the southwest area of the site. The goal of the porch is to provide a shaded area, which is really needed because of the intense sun at the back, at the rear of the house, give them some shaded outdoor space. We're the original architects for the house, and here are some of the photographs. It's a modern house. So at the top, you see the east elevation. On the left, you'll see a cedar fence, and that cedar fence we're planning to relocate just 2 feet forward, so we can create this sloped grade that I'll explain in a minute. This is our current west elevation. This is what exists, and there is a narrow plateau at the top of this of the rear of the property, and then there's a big slope going down to the railroad tracks. This photograph here is showing the south western corner of the site where we're planning to put the new outdoor living area, porch, and very small pool. We're calling it a plunge pool, which I'll show you in a minute. To the right, this photograph here is showing the retaining wall that came down. There's a series of 2 retaining walls that have collapsed. And we're working very closely with SESI Engineering, their structural engineers, to design a new retainage for this slope and a new outdoor space below. Next slide, please. Oh, on the zoning, I just want to make a note that we have been using the new sliding scale. So the maximum lot coverage is 18. Our proposed porch brings us to 16%, and the maximum pervious is 40. We're using the sliding scale, and we're at 23%. We meet all the zoning codes, regulations in addition to that. This is our site plan, and it's showing the existing house, which is kind of a boomerang shape and a pale yellow color. There's a deck in the back that's in blue. And then on the southwest side, we are proposing a new porch. This porch is accessible from the basement level, so it's going to be below the level of the street, and it will have a metal roof on top. Outside of that porch is a plunge pool, which is which is just outside it, that is set into the grade. And then there is a, which is 6 by 11 feet. And then there's a fire pit. There is also a little screened area where we know we're going to put our pool equipment. And the thick gray line that you see going across is a new retaining wall, 4'10" high, and it will be a gravity wall that will retain the new slope that we're planning to, sloped grade, that is planned to cover the old retaining walls, which will be demolished and then covered by the new planted grade. The grade will be erosion control plants, and we'll have a slope of 1 and 2, which has all been specified by the structural engineer to make sure that we are this site will be properly, will have adequate structural retainage of that slope. And just this on the other side of our porch, you may see another dark gray line. That's an existing retaining wall, and it currently has a metal fence on top of it. And this has been designed to make sure that there won't be any disturbance to that wall. And at the very front of this, we have tucked into that grade, there are some of the geothermal condensers are going to remain, and just a piece of the old retaining walls will stay, just so that we can keep those in place. Now, down below, you see some images of the street, street views. As you go down Fairlawn Avenue, you can see the house as you head Suzanne south, maybe. Nope. Yeah, I just wanted you to see where this is going to be. To the left, you see that cedar fence. We're planning to bring that forward so we can have more grade, slope grade to cover the old retaining walls. And then if we can go to, I think we can go right to the plans, maybe, Suzanne. So we can, here's our rear elevation of the porch. This porch is approximately 12 feet high. We're planning to have a standing seam metal roof in warm gray, so that when you look down from above, you see a nice standing seam pattern in gray color. As you can see, the top of this roof is below the edge of the property at the top where it hits the street. The existing cedar railing will be rebuilt, or we'll save as much as we can and relocated a little bit towards the property line. And then at the bottom of that fence, all the way down to our new retaining wall, we're going to have a sloped grade. We have a planting plan that I'll show you in a minute. The porch will have clear cedar wrappings of the columns and a clear cedar band around the edge and cedar ceiling inside. We're showing behind on the east side of the porch, outdoor kitchen. And this will give them enough room to have a sitting area and a outdoor dining table. And to the right, you see a very low band that's going to be the edge of the plunge pool. This down below, you see some of the samples of the materials. The patio pavers will be bluestone in a random rectangular shape going around the patio. And then around the edge of the pool, we have some Saratoga granite. Columns are clear cedar, columns clear, fascia board, ceiling clear cedar. Then we have the concrete block gravity wall. This was specified by the structural engineer, but we had a choice of finishes and we chose a nice, smooth, warm gray. It's called Old World finish. Next sample is the standing seam roof, which will have a warm gray color to it. And the last item is just this stainless steel across the back at the summer kitchen. Now, I think, Suzanne, we could show them, yes, more of the elevations here. The south elevation at the top left is showing the kind of a butterfly shape. We felt that there are very gentle angles to the roof on the house. So we are trying to mimic that in this porch and also keep the roof below the windows that are on the first floor. And you can see on the wall of the house, we're planning to do an enclosure for an outdoor TV, and then also outdoor kitchen to the right. There are some images around here. I'll jump in, Suzanne, if there's a detail you might want to describe.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, the photos are just just
These photos are
inspiration
just
yeah.
images, yeah, that represent what we plan to do here. So the one on the top left is the raised soaking pool. This has been designed so it's not too large and it won't have any detrimental effect on the retaining walls on each side of it. To the right is just an image of the retaining wall. We plan to use standing seam roof, and then the Saratoga granite, which is a detail of that's in certain places on the plan. Just to explain how this plan works, this is a blow up showing the outdoor kitchen, which actually wraps around the eastern side, on side of the patio and along our new retaining wall, and then along part of the south side of the house. There's an island with seating. And down below is the plan of the entire proposed patio and porch showing outdoor living, outdoor dining, outdoor kitchen, the plunge pool, and the fire pit. And all this tucks in neatly into that space that's available up to the existing retaining wall along the west side. I think we can go and show them the next slide just to show, well, these are just the black and white drawings that we had shown you before in color. Go to the next slide. I think we've shown this one too. This plan, this is our electrical plan, just showing some of the lighting we plan to put here. We're going to have some very subtle LED grade level lighting along the top edge of the low retaining wall, and then some recessed lights inside the porch. Next slide, please. I think this is here to show you our landscaping plan. We have a landscape architect, Richard Quigley, who has designed this planted area. So it has erosion control plants like juniper along the slope, and then it's flanked by viburnum. So now instead of what you see, well, what was there previously was 3 retaining walls, which are now have collapsed. We plan to have this a green area. So when you look down, you see a sloped planted bed. And I think, yes. We also happen to have our, pardon, oh yeah, Suzanne was pulling up the existing plan of the retaining walls, I think, or showing the old retaining walls.
Cedar clad.
And it's the engineers, this is the engineer's plan for the new retaining wall, the shape of the retaining wall.
Mhm.
We have a section here too. This is the section showing the old retaining walls being buried and removed where they need to be above the grade.
And I think
That's it.
that's the extent of our presentation. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you.
Actually, it's a very clear presentation. I like the materials that you guys chose for each one of the areas. And I think it's a great outdoor space. That's my take. Any other comment?
And a couple questions. So the geothermal fans relative to the roof line for the new built structure. Does it have a lot of heat output? That will,
Maybe
Dan,
maybe Dan could answer that. Dan
This looks
Foster,
like
the
an-
owner's here.
is it
I'm the
is it
homeowner.
set back from where the new porch is being proposed? Is it,
Oh.
looks like it's not in section, it looks like it's relatively close to the new roof line?
So they exist right now already on that, in this drawing there. If you see where the old retaining walls were, they're between the two, the middle and the upper retaining wall, and that's where they sit. They're relatively quiet. They're not normal air conditioning type units. They're just fans. Our geothermal system just has struggled in the past with the amount of sunlight hitting the back of the house and therefore the load on the house. So this is just something that the way geothermal works, before the pipes go back into the earth, they get passed through these fans and just release some of the heat before it goes down to the earth. So it's literally the sound of like a bedroom fan. It's not loud at all. They don't generate nearly the type of heat that that normal like outdoor AC units put out.
can you see the photo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so those are
up of-
proposed to remain where they are
Yeah.
relative to the,
Yeah, that's part of the
Yes.
design, is to keep that little piece of the old retaining walls
Yeah.
will not be buried by the slopes, so that we don't have to move those or disturb them.
right?
Is there a roof plan for this patio?
We are actually working on it, and I think right now we just have a footprint, and we have the shape. But we are moving into that level of detail.
We're working with Hudson Engineering on the civil engineering for the site for the planning board. But because of the condition of the wall, we are just trying to expedite the process, so we, hopefully can get the wall repaired this season. But we'll be going before the planning board, the next planning board meeting with the roof plan and the drainage plan.
There is a drainage plan that comes with this. I mean, I know it's not in this purview, but it is part of the planning board.
Yes, there's, we have Hudson Engineering working on it right now, and we'll have it for the next planning board submission.
The only reason I ask is just the sloping from grade at the existing grade at the top of the street level, just sloping down. I mean, you're out, just worried about drainage then onto more impervious surface that will then continue to travel. It's just a suggestion. It's obviously not in the purview of this board, but.
Yeah, we have an engineer working on it. The idea is that there will be, just so you know, what we have in mind, that the roof will slope towards and be pitched into a drain that we'd like to have it actually inside the column enclosure, and then the runoff and all this drainage goes into a system that we think will probably have to head over to the side of the property. But it's not been where the civil engineer is working on the design right now. And like Suzanne said, with the reason why there's some urgency with this, because due to the condition of the collapsed walls, we'd like to get into construction of the retaining wall as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I'm less concerned about the retaining wall. I'm just more concerned with some of the aesthetics of the open hood and the vent and proximity to being seen from the street and things of that nature. Christina, I think the existing roof line you guys treated below that existing grade so that it would be hidden by the fence, which I understand. The floating hood with the outside kitchen and some of the other aesthetics of what that creates. Not obviously from the street view, but from the river, which not many other people are concerned about, honestly. It's
We
just,
are showing a vent coming through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there'll be much more than that coming out of that roof. There won't be. And
And we have it painted to match the roofing color.
so we have given some thought to that.
Yeah. No, I mean, is it the same roofing materials that standing metal seam on the existing house, or is it a different material?
I believe we have fiberglass on the existing house.
We have a
but
different,
we're-
it'll be a different material.
A different
We picked this material because it'll be visible if you look over the fence.
Right.
You feel that would be more attractive to look at.
The existing roof isn't really visible from the street. It's such a gentle slope.
And if you could see anything, it's, I think, probably 80–90% covered in solar panels.
Right.
The image you have of the roofing material, it looks like a shiny metal. Or is there a concern about reflected light back up to the house?
It's a granite,
Oh, it's granite?
granite look.
We
It's,
have we've used it before. I don't have any concern of that.
Okay.
It's this color.
We don't like to use shiny. I think if it looks shiny, then we'll make sure it's a matte finish.
I do have a sample here. It's a matte finish, but I guess it can reflect a little bit of light, a little sheen, but it's not glossy by any means. It's metal, matte painted metal.
I personally, as I said it before, I think it's a good selection of materials. I think it's a great looking outdoors.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it looks great.
And yeah, I think it looks good. I'm good. All right. Should I ready for approval? Make a motion to approve it. Second, Paul, all in favor? Thank you, Christina.
Okay, thank you so
all.
much.
Good luck. Enjoy the outdoors.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening.
Okay.
You too.
And I make a motion to adjourn this meeting for tonight. I'm glad that we made it to a quorum.
Quorum plus.
Good to see everyone. Seconds, Brendan,
Yeah, adjourned.
adjourn.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And by the way, guys, I apologize. We